So this is a request from one of my top tier patrons, Greg C. If you didn't know, one of the perks of my top tier over on Patreon is that once a month, every top tier member gets to request that I review any movie that they want. And this month, it's a totally different movie because this is actually January's request from Greg C. But in January, I did December, and now in February, I'm doing January, and I'll get to February's this month as well. Got a little backed up while I was moving, but here you go, Greg. January's Patreon. It's a little late, but here it is. Hope that Patreon payment's not late, though. The Kid Detective is brought to us by director Evan Morgan and stars Adam Brody and Sophie Nalisi. Sorry about the name, Sophie, because I'm pretty sure I screwed that all up. A once celebrated kid detective, now 32, continues to solve the same trivial mysteries between hangovers and bouts of self-pity until a naive client brings him his first adult case to figure out who brutally murdered her boyfriend. So I ain't gonna lie, when Greg first messaged me and sent over the title of this movie, for some reason I had a box art from a video store stuck in my head of like some little kid being a detective. You know those kind of like mid-90s movies that they made? I really thought this was one of those, like some mid-90s kids movie with some little kid that was a detective. But oh no, I was wrong. This is not that, not at all. There's nothing childlike about this movie. Abe, played by Adam Brody, is a grown man who at one point in time was a celebrated kid detective when he was like 12 years old. He solved a bunch of crimes around the town and he got like the key to the city and all that. And as he went on into adulthood, he kept on doing the exact same thing. There was, however, a case that broke Abe early on. A missing girl in the town that everyone expected he would figure out where she was and what happened to him, and he just wasn't able to. You see, Abe was used to being pretty much the smartest guy at the table. He was always able to pick out what the twist was in movies long before you got to the end. He always knew what was going to happen in the end of a story. Someone could tell him about a mystery or a crime that was committed, and he could usually figure out very quickly who it was. But when it came to this kidnapping in this idyllic little town that he lives in, he was at a loss. He was unable to do it, and it kind of broke him and reverberated through the rest of his life. He was never really able to come back from that, and his entire adult life, he's kind of been a waste of space. However, one day, a young boy in high school gets murdered, and his girlfriend approaches Abe to hire him to figure out who it was. And from here, we follow Abe and Caroline as they go on a journey throughout the town to try and solve this crime and also uncovers some very dark secrets about the town. Alright, so right off the bat, one of the things I like the most about this movie is that it totally caught me off guard. I was not expecting this movie to be what it was. It is at its core a whodunit, but it is also a dark comedy. When I say dark comedy, I mean very dark comedy. There are parts of this movie that have a very dreamlike quality, especially the flashbacks when Abe was younger and how the town was and everything. It's almost surreal. But now, in the current day, the town is kind of like in shambles and kind of gone to shit. It's kind of like the town fell apart when Abe fell apart. And I like this dynamic. The current day town seems much more real than the flashback town, but there's something about that idyllic kind of like bubblegum looking town that I like about the flashbacks. It makes me wonder if was the town ever really like that, or is that just Abe's perception of it? That's what he remembers about his childhood. Now when it comes to the humor, this movie is really dry, and like I said, it's really dark. But not all the dark subject matter in this movie is humorous. There are some things, especially closer to the end, that are just fucking dark. And really, some of the darkly comedic parts of this movie are so dark, part of me was almost like, I'm not even sure if that was supposed to be funny. Those ending bits though, yeah, no, they were not supposed to be funny at all. That shit was just fucking dark, like pitch black dark. All that aside though, the humor in the movie is going to be very subjective. It's not gonna be for everybody. If you like dark humor, you're probably gonna find some pretty funny moments in this movie. I did. But as I said, it is so dark at times that some people aren't going to see that humor and they're not going to enjoy that side of the movie. So if you don't typically like dark comedy, then this movie's probably not gonna be for you. Either that or you're going to have a vastly different view of this movie as a whole than I did. Now, as I said, if you do like dark comedy though, there are some really funny moments throughout this film. Abe is such a miserable fucking person that the way he deals with people and interacts with other people out in the world is just fucking funny as hell. It's sad as all get out, but it's one of those situations where it's really funny because it's not me. Now, the whodunit side of this story, while at first is kind of dealt in a very loosey-goosey way, as time goes on, it really starts to tighten up. For about the first half of this movie, I really didn't care who did it. I really wasn't very invested in the mystery part of this movie. I was enjoying the movie, the comedy was keeping it going, but it wasn't until about the second half when things really pick up with the actual mystery. And man, the twist or the outcome of this mystery, you're just not gonna see coming. I don't really see how you could. And this is the point in the end of the film when it takes a hell of a swing for the dark. Like, it leaves all that dark humor and surrealness behind and just is like fucking dark as hell. I know I've said that a couple of times, but you need to understand going into this shit, the end of this movie and certain other aspects here or there are really fucking dark. I promise I won't talk about how dark it is anymore. That being said, I really enjoyed the end of this movie because it caught me totally off guard. And I thought it was pretty ballsy for the filmmakers to take this movie that up to this point has been kind of sort of surreal and really go hard there in the end. The tone shifts drastically in these moments, but for some reason, it just kind of works. If they had just stuck with the tone that they had had up until this point, I don't know if it would have been nearly as impactful as it was. That tonal shift really made it stand out, and there were some truly poignant moments in the end of this film. Massive tonal shifts a lot of the time just don't work out. They make a film seem very uneven and chaotic, but here they did it masterfully. Our performances across the board are all pretty great. Everybody's character is just a little bit off. These aren't like realistic performances. That's not what they were going for. It's almost like the performances of Napoleon Dynamite, but a lot darker. Damn it, I said dark again. Overall, the movie was just really entertaining and extremely fresh. I honestly can't believe I've never even heard of it before. Guys, The Kid Detective was a really original movie that's not gonna be for everybody, but those that are into its humor, you're gonna have a great time with this one. It's got a solid mystery that gets more interesting as the story goes on, some really good performances. It is pretty damn funny if you're into that type of humor, and it has a hell of an ending. Now, you're not as invested in the mystery aspect of the film for the first half of the movie, but it makes up for it with its quirkiness and is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I was really surprised by this movie. I didn't really know what to expect, but this sure as hell wasn't it. So if you're looking for an entertaining flick that is definitely original and interesting and has a hell of an ending that's gonna blindside the shit out of you, then check out The Kid Detective one night. I think you're gonna have a pretty good damn time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of The Kid Detective. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Con, where you too will be able to request of me once a month to review any movie of your choice. If you like video games or you just want to see this asshole trying to get good, then check out my new gaming channel, Jag. Link in the description. Any support is appreciated. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Willowbrook.
This guy in my homeroom claims he's practiced with the Mets. I need to find out if he's lying.
He's lying.
So I really appreciate Greg asking me to watch a good movie this time around, because Greg, I haven't forgotten what you did last time. I haven't forgotten what travesty you made me watch last month. Oh no, it's still with me. It haunts my dreams.